Hey guys, it's Tinker Taylor here today, bringing you back another Pokemon build series video. Today we have, I believe it's pronounced Togetic, but I'm probably saying that wrong. It is following on from, oh goodness, Togepi. I'm saying that so wrong. I probably said it right yesterday. I always look up these Pokemon and then immediately forget what they're called, so when I try and reference one that I've just talked about, immediately I say it wrong. I do apologise for that. I'm a lot more familiar with other Pokemon. I think Gen 2 I'm not very confident with. I think Gen 1 and Gen 3 I'm a little bit more confident with. I don't know, I think Gen 3 was the first one I ever played, and then I went back and played Gen 1. But yeah, I feel like compared to other Pokemon players, I started a little bit late. But yeah, this Pokemon is a fairy flying type. It is 87.5% male, 12.5% female, and yeah, apparently it evolves when you have a high friendship. So from the last Pokemon to this one with high friendship, and then to the next one if you have a shiny stone. But yeah, with this one, I don't know, it kind of reminded me of like a really, like, it's got the facial expression of a kid in a playground who just discovered that the random kid that they just met is really into the same game as them, or the same, like, you know, like they're either, you know, like, okay, we both really like soccer, or we both really like, I don't know, Pokemon, or whatever it is, but you know, these two kids have the same interests as each other, but its style also kind of looks like something that, you know, maybe a kid has like a certain toy and they're happy to share it with this other kid so that, you know, they've got a friend to play with. And I really liked that sort of idea. So what I ended up doing was building kind of like, it's like another daycare. I've been building quite a few of them and I'm not really sure why, because it's not really my thing. I don't really have a thing, but I don't know. I wanted it to feel like this is somebody's home, but they've renovated one of the rooms into being a room which, yeah, younger kids can hang out and they kind of babysit or look after them there. And that's what we end up doing. I did furnish this more of a house compared to a couple of the previous ones that I've done. So there is, yeah, like the kids aren't really supposed to go upstairs because that's where the person who lives in this house, that's where they live. So there's not really any reason for the kid to go up there other than to go to the bathroom. There's no bathroom on the downstairs floor, but I'm sure if you moved some things around, like there is the main entry room that kind of you're seeing now, that room ends up being like a big playroom. You could easily change that into like a dining room or a living room or something like that, and putting the kitchen where either the dining room or living room is, and then putting another bedroom or bathroom down in the spot where the kitchen goes. But yeah, there's only one bathroom in this house. It's 2 bedrooms, a lounge space with a TV, a dining space with, I believe, 4 chairs, and a kitchen that's actually in its own little separate room. But I don't know, man, when we actually get to the dining lounge space, I don't know what came over me, but I got haunted by some interior designer, and I really like how it turned out. And again, haunted. I was haunted by one, I was possessed, I was taken over. It was not me who built it, because I don't know how I built what I did. Look, I'm not one to really hype up my own builds, but I feel really proud of how this little space turned out. Is it perfect? No. But is it getting to a point where I'm like, wow, like what have I done? Like who possessed me? You know, I'm trying to be a little bit more proud of myself. So yeah, I'm trying to be a little less, not ashamed, but a little less avoidant of celebrating my celebrations, you know, things that deserve to be celebrated. So yeah, that's kind of how we end up with the build that we end up, but we don't end up doing that lounge space and the dining space. I almost forgot, but we don't do them towards kind of like the second half of the video. But yeah, I really did have a lot of fun with this build, so I wanted the outside to feel a bit more I don't want to say whimsical because I've been using that word a lot, but I wanted it to feel a little bit more like it fits in the town, you know? I know this town is, I'm pretty sure this is the gnome part of the world, where there's, yeah, just like lots of little gnomey doodads and whatnot, but I don't know, I really enjoyed it. I thought this build would kind of make sense here, and yeah, I don't know, I could have lent in a little bit more to the world in which, like the actual part of the world that we're in. But yeah, like I said, I really, really liked how the outside of this build looked. And I feel like maybe if you had a little bit of like a whimsical cottage type thing and you took care of, you know, the town's children after school, you know, all the kids come here and hang out and play in your yard and, you know, do their homework and whatnot at your house. You might have a little bit of a house that stands out just a tiny bit so that the kids can always know, okay, that's the house we go to. Rather than being, yeah, just like sort of generic house, you know, the parent can be like, all right, it's the house that, you know, with the mossy, it's got like a mossy bit on it. You'll see like mossy stone, and that's where you go after school. And the kid's like, okay, I'll go there. I don't know, I thought it would just be like a really cute little build to play around with. And yeah, like I said, I'm really happy with how it turned out. There are some random bits to it that I don't like, just, the stairs for one, like what is this? I don't really know what's going on with it, but I don't hate it. I think in the end it's actually not all that bad. I don't know, the stairs sort of slot in that spot, but because they are stairs that are, you can see through them, there is just like an empty spot behind the stairs, and I didn't know how to fix that, so I just, I didn't. So there is, yeah, a weird little gap to the back of the stairs. I could have changed the stairs to ones that aren't kind of like the floating step, but I didn't. And you bet your bottom dollar Sims are gonna get stuck behind them. There's how many times have Sims, like I swear, every video I watch of people playing The Sims, it's like, well, there's somebody stuck underneath my stairs. And that happens far too often, but it's also very funny, and I hope they never fix it. I mean, I do hope they fix it, but at the same time, I don't. Now, also, I should have, thinking back now, I should have done the bathroom at the top of the stairs, so that when the kids are going up, they can just go straight into the bathroom. But I actually make that room a little office space. It's very squishy in there, so it probably would have made more sense to put the bathroom in this smaller space, because you don't really need much room for it. And then to put the office space into where the bathroom is, like it just doesn't make sense. And also the second bedroom is a little squishy and a pokey, but I should have done it for a kid. Like it would have made sense to have it for a child sim, but for some reason I did it for another adult sim, or a couple, I guess, and maybe like a sim or a couple who work from home or something like that, or at least one of them does work from home because there is a computer in there as well. I don't know, I really don't know why I did that. I think I was just really running out of bedroom energy. I don't know if that makes sense, but like sometimes I don't necessarily like doing the bathrooms the same. I like to do them a little bit different each time. Did I say bathrooms? I meant bedrooms. It's a little bit late, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, I like to do the bedrooms a little bit differently to each other, and I like to use slightly different beds. Now, I could have used the same furniture, and I think it would have looked a lot better if I did, but I'll be honest, I don't know why I didn't. So yeah, there are two slightly different bedrooms. I feel like this one does match the house. The other one, it's kind of just like, I like this bed, I'll put it in. Did it necessarily match? No, not really, but again, I liked the bed, so I put it in. And that's kind of how my building style goes sometimes, is I don't know what to put here, so I'm just going to put this item that I know I like. And that's it. That's the extent of my reasoning with it. So, yeah. If you like the bedroom that we will be doing in, I think, like a minute or two, definitely let me know, because maybe I did do the right thing. But yeah, also if you don't like it, definitely let me know and what I should have done instead. I'm very open to constructive criticism and feedback and things such as, I mean, even if it's not even the bedrooms, like if there's anything in this build that you don't like, I am very open to hearing about it, very open to learning about what I should have done instead. I don't know, I feel like a lot of people will come in and give all these compliments to these builders, and don't get me wrong, like compliments are nice. I really do like compliments. But I also like to know where I went wrong and how to fix it up, and I can't really do that if I don't know what I did wrong or what I could do to improve it, you know? I'm always looking for the next thing to improve my builds. I don't know, again, don't get me wrong, I love hearing compliments and you know, things like that, but yeah, like I said, you can't really improve a build if you don't know what things people don't like. And I know some people are like, oh, I don't like saying what I don't like because I feel like I'm being mean, and no, give it to me. Like, what did I do wrong? Let me know. I like to get that sort of feedback, and it's also something that, you know, it helps me learn for this particular style what is very popular, what's not popular, and all that sort of stuff. Because yeah, I'm not necessarily the most talented in this style of build. I'm kind of just guessing as I go along and building from my heart and hoping for the best. And I feel like I did okay. Sometimes I will actually pause the recording and send off screenshots to some people and ask them what they think and what they feel in the situation, whether or not they like the certain build, whether or not I should have changed it, did something slightly differently. And I do greatly appreciate that. Like when I do the kitchen, I send off some screenshots of cabinets to help get cabinet choices. And I do not pick the cabinet that they recommended, but it helps me figure out, like, when I'm the sort of person where if I say to you, hey, like, I really want to eat something, but I don't know what I want. Do I want A or B? If you give me an answer, I will know whether or not that answer is correct. And it's not me being spiteful if I pick the other thing, it's just that hearing it from someone else helps me know which one I want. It helps me make a decision. And I did try and make that other counter work. I really did. It's just the other one looks slightly better, and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna pick the one that's slightly more matchy. And yeah, I really enjoyed how it turned out. And I think the upper cabinets, because the upper cabinets are actually in a different colour, like the matching swatch is a different colour, apparently intentionally. Yeah, I don't know, I'm pretty pleased with how it turned out. So yeah, also with the kitchen, if you don't mind, let me know too. You'll see both colours, because I end up building it in the first colour and then I change it to the second one. Or at least I start building it in the first colour and then I change it to the second one. So yeah, definitely give me your opinions. I definitely value them. And yeah, I don't know, it's definitely an interesting, I don't know, I think it's this wallpaper. I've used this wallpaper quite a bit in a few builds, and it's the cats and dogs wallpaper. I didn't think I'd be using a lot of cats and dogs, and yet here I am, like, the wallpaper is my new favourite thing, and cats and dogs is actually where I started. That's the first ever pack I ever got. So the fact that, like, you know, I've had this since the day I got this game, and it's only now that I'm, like, really falling in love with it, I feel bad. This poor little build, like, it worked. It was the first one I ever got, and I worked so hard on trying to like those items, and I just really did struggle with it. But now, I think it's because these sort of panels, buttons, I don't know what they're called, but this sort of wallpaper is coming back into style, and I don't know, the way that they did this is actually quite timeless and beautiful. I don't know, it's just, I really appreciate the Sims team and whoever worked on this, because it is absolutely gorgeous, and I will always love it, and I greatly appreciate, the people who worked on it. I also just realised that I was meant to add like a little breakfast table to this room, and I did not, and I forgot, and I apologise, but there is definitely room to add a little breakfast table if you were looking for one. At least I don't think I did. I don't think I do. Because it's also at the same time I forgot the dining table, and I was like, look, I'll put the dining table in so I don't forget that, and then I'll do the rest of the kitchen, and I never did. So yeah, if you're looking for a little breakfast nook spot, you can build your own one there. I don't know what table I would even use in that spot, because I'd probably use a smaller table, because you wouldn't necessarily want it to be too big for a little breakfast nook, like, a few people just sitting down and snacking on breakfast, compared to, like, the proper dining table with I mean, in the game, let's be real, is any of the Sims actually going to sit down and have a family meal together? Probably not. You know what? Someone should make a challenge where it's like, for an entire week in-game Sims week, have a family live a regular schedule. So have the, if you've got a stay-at-home parent, have them do stay-at-home parent things. If you've got if it's a family with two parents and they both work, try and give them a 9 to 5 or as close as possible. I know not all Sims jobs are 9 to 5, but try and make them as close as possible. And then, send the kids off to school and get them to sleep by, if they're in high school, by 10 p.m, if they're in primary school, by 8 p.m. I guess you guys call it elementary school, actually. Have the family sit down and eat dinner together, and I don't know what else. Because, I feel like that sort of challenge would actually be quite difficult for Simmers to do and have it for an entire week. Maybe for a day. I feel like you could potentially line everything up for a day, but for an entire week, I doubt it. I challenge thee. I know I definitely couldn't do it, because I don't actually play The Sims. You'd have to play The Sims before you can actually do the challenge. But yeah, I don't know. I just, every time I see people playing The Sims, it's like, oh, okay, let's have this Sim blow out the candles to age up, and oh my goodness, I just realised it's 3 a.m. and they're aging up at 3 a.m. on their birthday. Like, why are we doing it at 3 a.m? And it's just because in The Sims you don't really pay attention to time. Time is a little, confusing, because the time in which it takes to do certain tasks, it would not take that long in real life, I feel like sometimes, if you send the Sims to have a bath or something like that, they can be in there for 3 hours, and you're like, dude, how many people actually have a bath for 3 hours? You know what I mean? That's just insane. So yeah, I don't know. It's I don't know how to feel about the time, because I do play the game for the events, and I do notice with that, it's like, okay, go and grill something. I don't know why my Sim has recently been obsessed with grilling, but he's there for 3 hours, and I'm like, I understand that if you're having a barbecue, or having a bunch of friends over at your house, and you probably will be barbecuing for 3 hours, but you're making hot dogs or whatever you're making, I don't know, but why is it taking you 3 hours? What hot dog on this planet takes 3 hours to make? I would love to know that, just to cook it from, if you were just to pick up hot dogs from the butcher or the store or whatever and cook them, it should not take you 3 hours. I don't know, I recently saw someone complaining about how, hey Sims, it shouldn't take my Sim 3 hours to cook an omelette, because we don't do that in real life. And as somebody who doesn't do gameplay, that's fairly valid. I think 3 hours to cook something is a little lame. I think, I think there should be also a, when you, in the kitchen you do quick meals, you can just, get a bowl of cereal or whatever. You should be able to have a super quick meal where you your sim basically shovels as much food in their face as possible. You know, because how many of us do that when we're like, okay, I've got to leave in 5 minutes and I haven't eaten and I haven't brushed my hair and I've got to get dressed, and, you know, you just go down in the kitchen and just shove random food in your face and hope for the best. I feel like that should be something that's added to the game, because that feels very realistic to me. Just, yeah, like, it's just have a quick meal before work, because sometimes the quick meals take a little bit as well. And they're not very filling either, which I also imagine, you know, like having a handful of cereal or, you know, a piece of bread and a muesli bar or something like that, that's not very fulfilling. But then again, also, I do know people prioritize sleeping in and getting up at the last minute to get ready for work. I do know that. So I do understand and respect it. But yeah, I think it's something that's somewhat accurate. Also, I was saying in a previous video that I couldn't access the debug for this game, for this pack, for the Get to Fairies pack. I obviously now have it. As you can see, all of the debug items are here. And it's because, yeah, I didn't properly uninstall and then reinstall Better Build By. I do use Better Build By and Tool. I don't think I used Tool in... Actually, I did use Tool in this build once. But yeah, I do use Better Build By and Tool in my game. I also do have MC Command Center, but that is for when I'm doing the events, and I can just cheat a bunch of things, so I don't have to worry about any of it. But yeah, if you're ever wondering why my game looks slightly different to yours, and the fact that, yeah, all these debug items are actually sorted into mostly the correct categories, that would be why. So yeah, if you were looking for something to help you organize your game a little bit better, I definitely recommend Better Build By. So Better Build By, basically, it reorganizes all of the debug and live edit objects. Also, if you use CC, it can hide the CC if you don't want to see it, or it can hide all of the Max's stuff if you don't want to see that. It can turn on move objects automatically, turn on ignore gameplay unlocks automatically, and yeah, like I said, the debug and live edit are pre-organized for you, so you don't have to go searching through the debug menu or the live edit menu. It's all just there. So yeah, if you like I said, if you do notice, that's what that is. And then if you notice before, I rotated a painting, that is Tool. And Tool is a blessing and also an addiction. So yeah, just be warned, if you get either of them, they will become something that you cannot build without. Although I do know some builders who have admitted that they only use Tool for carpets. In fact, I know somebody who downloads Tool, changes the size of a carpet, or a rug, sorry, and then deletes the mod. And what? Just keep it. Just keep it. You'll probably play around with other rugs in the future and the size of them. Just leave it in there. And I'm probably only saying that because I'm addicted to it. I do understand not everybody wants to have mods, or sometimes they have potatoes for computers and can't really handle them for too much. The first time I ever played this game, I had like 6,000 crashes because I was playing on a certified potato. The computer was fine for, it was a little laptop. It was fine for, like doing schoolwork and whatnot. And yeah, after that, it was a potato at doing anything else. So yeah, unfortunately, I could only really build in The Sims. I couldn't really do CAS, which is actually what I was trying to do. I was trying to do cats and dogs CAS, but it kept crashing, so I just gave up on it and walked away. And I never even tried gameplay. I never even opened gameplay, I don't think. I think I just went straight into building after that. And that became my addiction, and it was really, really good. I say really, really good. Addiction is never good, but I clearly thoroughly enjoy it. It's been how many years since I downloaded this game? I think we're up to maybe 8 years. I don't know how to count anymore. It's been a very long time. But yeah, I really am happy with how this whole little situation turned out. And I've met some really wonderful people through the discovery of this game, so I'm very, very grateful for it. And yeah, I don't know. I feel it's one of those things where, like, I don't know if I would have met half the people that I met without this game. So I am very, very appreciative of it for that. And, you know, yes, it might be a little buggy and flawed. All games are. But, you know, again, without the game, would I have met these people? Absolutely not. And I'm just very glad that I did. So, yeah. I don't know. I feel like it's the same with, like, other people and games. And they're, like, other games. You wouldn't have met half the people you've met if it weren't for that game, you know? And I'm just very grateful for the opportunity and chance to meet everybody that I have met. And I know there are, like, bad beans out there in the universe, but every single simmer I have met has been a wonderful bean. Like, no one has been a problematic bean, and I just really, really appreciate that, you know? Just being surrounded by good people who enjoy the same thing that I do, and yeah, it's just a good little happy, safe environment. But anyway, we're pretty much at the end here, so if you have enjoyed, definitely make sure to subscribe. I do come out with a new video pretty much every single day, but until then, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.